Thank you for watching The Real Source with me, Tafadzwa. One of the big crime stories that has rocked South Africa over the last few years is the story of Thabo Bester. In case you're not quite familiar with the story of Thabo Bester, I'm going to give you a summary courtesy of almost everyone's friend nowadays, Google Gemini.
Thabo Bester, a convicted murderer and rapist known as the Facebook Rapist, orchestrated an elaborate escape from a South African maximum security prison in May 2022 by faking his death in a staged cell fire. Aided by his celebrity doctor girlfriend, Dr. Nandipha Magujumana, he lived a life of luxury while on the run for nearly a year. The couple was eventually tracked down and captured in Arusha, Tanzania, in April 2023. They were extradited back to South Africa, where they and their alleged accomplices are currently facing a high-profile trial for the audacious escape and a string of other crimes.
Thank you, Gemini. Netflix brings us Beauty and the Bester, which is a 3-part docu-mini-series, if such a word exists, which breaks down the story and, in my view, tells it in a sober and revealing way. Now, why do I say the word sober? I think we live in a world where sensationalism sometimes makes us forget the humanity of some of the people that come to popular attention through these dramatic, shocking, and often tragic stories. The filmmakers of this one, I think, understood that this case is horrible and unbelievable enough on its own, and so it doesn't need any extra sauce. Maybe this is my personal preference, but too often I've watched documentaries, whether true crime or not, where there's too much else going on. The music is so loud, and there's some deep-voiced, scary narrator or glitchy editing and sound effects that in the end you actually lose the humanity of the story. And so I'm really grateful that wasn't the case with this documentary. The series grapples well with the question that I think is on everyone's mind who has been following the case. Is Dr. Nandipha a victim of Bester, or is she just as evil and wicked as he is? One of the most shocking moments for me was listening for the first time to Bester in a phone call yelling and cursing at Dr. Nandipha. You really get a glimpse of the dark side of the man who, in other voice notes also played in the series, sounds like the nicest and most charming guy around. At several points in the documentary, you'll hear people say, but how could someone like Dr. Nandipha fall for someone like that? But that's missing the exact point about con artists and leaders of cult movements. That is why these people make it into the headlines. It's because they know how to draw people in and manipulate them. They know how to identify the chink in your armor, that weak spot in your personality, and exploit it to full effect. Another thing I enjoyed about this series is that it takes time to look at the impact on friends and family. Often when such stories are dealt with as sensationalist pieces, these people, the ones who've been hurt, humiliated, betrayed, and left broken by these kinds of crimes, are forgotten. There are many moments in this docu-series that moved me, but probably the one that really got me in my feelings was when Dr. Nandipha's brother broke down after seeing his father, also her father, in the dock. I also enjoyed seeing Dr. Nandipha's friend grappling with who really is this person that has been my friend for so many years. You can really see that he is torn up about it. Did he know the real Dr. Nandipha, or was she so manipulated by Bester that she became someone who she never was to begin with? The one thing I think is missing from this documentary is a look into Thabo Bester's upbringing. The series does sit down with an interviewer who did a psychological profile on him, but there isn't an in-depth analysis other than showing us what he said to that interviewer, and so we as viewers are left to interpret that for ourselves. Yes, there are a couple of moments, comments from people like Pearl Thusi who say he's a psychopath, but it would have been fascinating to get more at an expert level. When I saw Bester's mother, I really thought, maybe we're gonna get some insight from her, but we didn't really. In fact, I feel that her contribution actually ended up being inconsequential to the documentary as a whole. So how do I end this review? Well, I think some personal reflection. You know, true crime documentaries are entertaining. I think that's why we watch them. That's why they make it onto the screen. I think when I look at something like this, I realize that we are all vulnerable. And sometimes when it's not you on screen, it's easy to comment and say, oh, how could this person fall for this? Or how could this person do this? But the reality is that life can be full of twists and turns. And hopefully as we watch series like this, which are very gripping, but also very shocking depressing and very discouraging about the human condition, we can take lessons from it and do the best we can to live the best way we can, not only with ourselves, but with those around us, family, friends, and the greater community. And so, what are your thoughts? What do you think, for example, about Dr. Nandipha? Do you think she is a victim, or do you think she is just as evil as Bester? What, for example, do you wish you had seen in the series that it didn't cover? I would love to read your comments in the comments section. But from me here on The Real Source, this is Tafadzwa saying thank you so much for watching, and do take care.